So one thing I did very early is I really studied the game. I studied success. I would look at all different types of success. All right. I would look at, of course, the obvious stuff. I look at the freaking sports players, how they got these really great outcomes early, you know, and I study that. Like, man, their salaries peaked early, like early 20s, and you know, it would go down from there usually because their best years are earlier. And most of those guys don't become billionaires or anything like that, but they become pretty successful very early. Then I compare that to different type of entertainment things like actors, musicians, and then I would compare that to things like things that require you to go to college. I would compare that to things like engineering, being a doctor, a lawyer. I compare to stuff like that. And the thing is, man, the interesting thing about all of this is that I always, when I used to look into like these things, I used to be very confused. Like, man, why would it almost seemed like the things that require so much time and education got paid less than the things that seem more entertainment like, right? So I'd be like, man, actors and musicians and freaking football players and stuff, they just get paid way more than everybody. But when I looked into the academic route, it seemed like everybody never got close to those guys, you know what I'm saying? So I would look at those guys, they go 10 years for PhDs and 8 years. And you know, some people don't even make 100K. Of course, there are some people that make more than 100K, but it seemed like almost no one made a significant amount of money. All right, so that kind of put me in a confusing spot when I was kind of analyzing this. I spent years looking into this stuff, man, and it's almost like, I'm gonna be honest, the world almost makes you feel like you have to be an entertainer to be extremely successful. But as I researched, I started to find out other groups of people like Warren Buffett's and Robert Smith's and stuff like that, Robert Lewis. So I started to study the game of businessmen and how businessmen, first generation businessmen though, not businessmen that parents gave them all the money to start with and stuff like Donald Trump, not guys like that for the most part, but solid businessmen that had to create it from scratch. My favorite one, African-American businessman, is gonna be Robert Smith, all right? So if you look up Robert S. Smith, you'll see where I'm coming from. So I studied this guy, and I studied guys like him, like Robert Lewis, and I noticed a very common and consistent trend. Now, before I get into it, I wanna first pinpoint that, remember earlier I told you the entertainers and the sports players, they had these really high salaries early. None of these guys became as rich as these guys I'm about to tell you. No, none of these entertainers almost never become as successful as these billionaires I'm talking about. These guys become multi-billionaires who have extremely large amounts of wealth. All right, and I started to study the game and started to notice the different blueprint. I started to really see the blueprint of the underlying strategy when it came to being like those guys. All right, so when it comes to this specific type of person, first generation billionaire who creates everything from scratch, the first thing they always do, let me let this truck pass. These guys in these pickup trucks. But anyway, the first thing they always do is they get a high value skill. It's the first thing. I don't care. Choose any African-American billionaire and they got a high value skill. And let me be honest, okay? I separate entertainment. People like Jay-Z and Kanye West, they are anomalies. I separate entertainment because it's a different type of strategy and it's good for certain people. You know what I'm saying? I think most people can't replicate becoming very rich with entertainment. It's too what's the word for it? It's not certain enough. Entertainment is too opinion based. It's too based on opinion and people liking it and all of that. So that's why I separate entertainment. All right. What I noticed with these billionaires like a Robert Smith, stuff like that, or Robert Lewis, these guys get a high value skill. Robert Smith became an engineer when he was young, and Robert Lewis became a lawyer. They always do this. All right. So they spend their young years or their initial years when they start their wealth generation, literally getting a high value skill, and they work jobs. I know that's hard to believe. These guys work jobs. Oh man, everyone's telling you to just go be an entrepreneur. Just go be a freaking entrepreneur. Just go be an entrepreneur. I'm going to have a video about some of that weird stuff I've been seeing on YouTube also. People telling you to just quit your job completely and just go sell t-shirts. And that's another story. Long story short, though, is that these guys work jobs. Not any jobs either. These guys work high-value jobs. And these guys had high-value, high-demand skill sets. It is the fundamental thing that they always get. Okay, and if you guys have been seeing also, I've been posting Kevin Samuels videos and stuff like that. Kevin Samuels also did the same thing. You know, people, what you guys are being, see, a lot of guys are being tricked because you got some people telling you to just go out here and be an entrepreneur, but the ones you see that are really successful, they're not telling you that they went and got these high value, high demand skills, and they usually work like in corporate or something like that, and they saved a lot of money and they invested a lot of money, and then they went out and because they didn't need and once their investment started to return, they started to use that money to protect themselves while they went and pursued their entrepreneurship ventures. All right, they're not telling you that. All right, but I'm telling you that. I'm telling you that all of these guys had the same template, that high value skill first. Okay. Robert Smith, the engineer, this guy went out and he literally was he went for engineering school, then he worked at a freaking chemical plant type thing. All right, he worked on chemistry stuff, but he was a chemical engineer. He then got as good as he possibly could. Then he went back for an MBA. All right, he went back for an MBA, and then he went to work at Goldman Sachs. Another high value skill. He got the MBA, and then he worked and did the financial. He did financial private equity. All right. So private equity, he did private equity. Then Robert Lewis, he worked as a lawyer. Then he went and got his own firm, and then he started his own law firm, right? Then he branched out and went into business. So what is the point? The point is that this is the point is, right, as an African American, no, I don't want to say African American. This is really for first generation. When you're a first generation successful, highly successful person, there is no shortcut to getting a high value skill first. There is no shortcut, because even if you are successful, you don't have anything to fall back on. That's going to be a problem. So you have to actually have that high value skill so that you can protect yourself and make sure you always have a stream of income. All right, you have to. Oh man, there's a CA Corvette right there. Look pretty straight. I've actually been thinking about getting a CA Corvette, but I don't like to buy liabilities. I gotta buy assets. You know what I'm saying, guys? I cannot pay for that. It's a cool car. It look pretty cool. But yeah, I definitely can't buy something that depreciates. I gotta buy things that appreciate. But anyway, guys, that's the template. The template is always high value skill. Get as good as they freaking can with that skill. They put everything they have into that skill. They get to the top of their skill set. They then branch out, and they'll start their own thing, whether it be their own law firm or whether it be their own private equity company. And then from there, it's really no way to ever fail. You can't fail because you always have the backing of your own money. They've stashed this money away the entire time, and they're getting returns on this money. And once they start to get returns on this money, they just support themselves as they grow, right? Because this is what happens. Let me be honest, okay? Me, I copied the same strategy. I literally watched these guys do it. I copied the same strategy. And what's even crazier is I looked at their salaries and how much they made per year. You can check out these guys' net worth per year. I literally look at billionaires and I try to mimic their structure of how much wealth they had per year and beat them year for year. That's how I kind of hold myself accountable. All right. So what I do is I looked up Robert Smith. I can see how much he made every year. And what you'll notice if you look up these guys, look up Robert F. Smith's net worth over time, and then look up Warren Buffett's net worth over time. I'm interested in Warren Buffett also. And you will notice this extremely flat beginning. From like the age of early 20s all the way to mid 30s, it's freaking flat. It is not because the numbers aren't high. It's just compared to where they are now, the numbers just explode at some point. And that's because really those guys were working on skills and really focusing on security and getting the foundation correct. Okay, you get the foundation correct by getting a high value skill, so you have it your entire life. You get as good as you can at that skill. You start to then be independent. So you go from a W-2 worker to a 1099 worker. That one move right there changes your pay grade by doing the same work. You know, if you're an engineer, you go from W-2 engineer to 1099 engineer, and you're going to be doing the same work, but you're going to be independent. and you're gonna make a lot more money. If you're a lawyer, you go from law, you being a W-2 guy working for a law firm to your own law firm that's 1099. Okay, if you're like Robert Lewis, you go from private equity, W-2 under Goldman Sachs, and then you go 1099 with your own private equity company. This is the same strategy always. So that's how you really want to get into entrepreneurship. You want to go get into entrepreneurship by getting a high value skill, getting good at that high value, high demand, getting into that skill and going as hard as possible. And then once you save all the money and you invest a lot of money, you simply switch over to 1099 work. And that's pretty much doing the same skill, but you're getting paid a lot more, but you have a lot more risk that you're taking on as far as your own individual self, which you can handle with business structure and stuff. And then after that, the sky's the limit. Okay, at this point, this is when I recommend you can pull everything off that I'm saying in your 20s. All right, and then you can go be whatever you want. If you want to be an actor, you can use all this money that you're gonna have for the rest of your life and these skills to support your acting. If you want to be a football, well, this doesn't work. Now that's another thing. That's why the strategy is different. If you want to be like an athlete, this doesn't work because you're gonna be out of your prime. You have to choose at that point. You get what I'm saying? But if you want to be things like actors and rappers and you want to make movies or something, or you want to be you want to do something, you want to freaking have a clothing line, or you know what I'm saying, whatever, you want to do that kind of stuff, and you want to have these very creative businesses, you can do that at this point because you've actually set yourself up to be safe. And that's what's very important with the first generational millionaire, a successful person. You don't have anything to fall back on. That's why you have to create your own safety net. You have to create that safety net for yourself. That way you always are successful. The reason why I know I'm going to be successful is because no matter what happens, I always make at least $250,000 a year. That's my minimum no matter what happens. A bad year for me is $250,000, I know, for the rest of my life. Think about that. So that means every 4 years I make $1 million, my worst case. And it took me, about 4 years of dedication to make that a reality. And that's what I'm telling you guys. A lot of people that are claiming that they're leaving their jobs and doing all these businesses, yada yada. Most businesses don't make $100,000 revenue, profit. Most businesses don't profit $100,000. I'm telling you that you can make $250,000 guaranteed minimum for the rest of your life as a safety net. And what do you think you're going to be making going through $1 million every 4 years? And if you invest that, come on, guys, I've doubled my money during the pandemic, like just by putting the money into the stock market with really no skills. So what happens if you're making $250 minimum in your bad years? So it's obvious, guys. I have no reason to lie to you. I don't want to look better than you guys. To be honest, I don't want to look like I'm flexing on you guys. I'm literally sitting here shocked because I'm a top 1%er in my earning ratio. With what I earn, I'm a top 1%er, and I just did what made sense. And I'm like, how in the world do I just do everything that makes sense and I end up an anomaly? I didn't do anything that's actually astronomically rare, I felt like. I did everything that was obviously the smart thing to do. Go get the skill that everybody that was in demand. That's obvious. Go get the skill that pays a lot too. Obvious. Don't ever stop trying to get that skill. Obvious. Why would you stop? No matter what happens, I will not stop. Keep working on the skill so you can keep increasing the money, the salary. Obvious. Invest the money and buy assets, don't buy liabilities, so that your money can make money for you. Obvious. This is all obvious to me. I don't really know how else to say it, you know what I'm saying? But I know that this will be interesting for somebody to hear me rant through this, because I used to be looking for somebody that was just dropping game like this and just talking, man to man, man to woman, whatever, just a straight normal conversation, just really just dropping game naturally and organically. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you guys stick to, if you guys go ahead and just put in the work, I don't care what age you are either. You know what I'm saying? If you're 40, you can really have this crap, you can get this crap right still. You know what I'm saying? You have to bite the bullet and understand, I just messed up what I messed up. You get what I'm saying? I messed up what I messed up. It is what it is, but I can reverse all this. You just got to bite the bullet, man, and you got to try every day. And the best thing you can do, if you don't know what to do, go to the gym. Sounds like it doesn't make sense at all. Trust me. If you don't know what to do, go to the gym, because the worst thing you can do is have bad habits when you're stuck. If you're stuck and you have bad habits, you're screwed. If you're smoking and you're stuck, or you're stuck and you're partying and you're stuck and all that, bad habits and being stuck do not mix well. All right, that is not the formula to get rich and be successful. If you're stuck and you feel stuck, discipline is going to be your best friend. It's going to change your life. If you don't know what to do, I guarantee you, if you just get a gym membership and every time you don't know what to do, you just work out until you freaking cannot work out anymore. If you do that, I guarantee you most of the stuff will start falling in line. Because if you've managed to get far in your life and not really have much success at all, it's probably a discipline problem. And what I'm talking about is attacking discipline head on. That gym will help you attack the discipline head on, and then you'll start to see that reflect the other parts of your life. But with that said, guys, I got to get out of here. I got to get into this gym, get this workout on. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you like this content, please like, please subscribe. Holla back at your boy, man. I'm going to have all kinds of cool stuff coming for you guys. I'm going to help some guys get rich with this strategy. I know I am. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking for ways. I'll reveal everything I got going soon, and all the opportunities I have for you guys to kind of link up with me, and for you guys to take advantage of some of this stuff to win as early as possible. All right, guys, peace, man. I'm about to get in here.